Today's a good day. Today marks the end of my floor pan repair, at least from the inside. I gotta clean up stuff underneath, but captive nut. Can't see it, but captive nut. What I did basically is I just cut a square hole in the pan, put a 2mm plate down there so that it's recessed slightly, but also 100% flat with the cross member. And just welded those plates up, put some nuts on there, welded the captive nuts in place. This is all done. Now underneath the car, there's some wires hanging down that, like, you know, I had gaps and the wires came through, and they welded in late, so there's all these little guys hanging around under there, so I got to get underneath, cut those off. Where I did lap welds or lap joints, there's some overhanging metal that I'm going to cut off before I POR-15 it, just so that there's nowhere that moisture can sit in, and cut that off, and then POR-15, seam seal, done. So I'm pretty much, yeah, I'm going to get to that next, and then I'm going to start wire wheeling the trunk. One more thing I neglected to mention, I'm not actually done, because there's still the, what do I do about this guy? So here's what I'm going to do. I started thinking about how to mount the battery, and using the stock mounts, I'm not too into that. And reason being is that I kind of don't know, like obviously that bolt down there, that's a mount for some strap that I can't find. And then there's some sort of other mount that's supposed to go in there. I don't know what that looks like. It's very hard to find pictures of that. So I said, to hell with it. I'll just make up something. So I have a ratchet strap and two like U eyelets coming in the mail. It's basically for tying down marine batteries. And basically those little guys, it's just like two little U's that sit on top, and I'm going to weld them into place on the north-south end of the battery. And then there's a ratchet strap, the same one that I use for like strapping down my kayaks to the top of my car. They're nylon ratchets, not actually like ratcheting ratchets, I guess, if you know what that means. Let me show you. It's these guys. Where are they? Nope, those are actual ratchets. These guys right here, you see them. You just feed through the strap through there. It's got little teeth on it, and the tighter you get it, the more those teeth grip. Hold it in place. And I like that for a few reasons. One, aftermarket batteries, Harbor Freight. Aftermarket battery straps usually come with a plate at the bottom that you weld in, and then it has the hooks, and then a metal strap that goes along the length of the battery, and you screw that in and it sucks it down. I didn't like that because, you know, in this situation I'm dealing with clearance. I can't have the battery sit too high or else it's going to interfere with the seat. So the nylon strap seems like a really good option. It's going to hold it in place well enough, especially considering that this car didn't even have anything strapped to hold it down. It was just literally sitting on top of a plate. So anything is better than that. And that should be good enough, because it'll allow me to mount the battery directly to the floor. And, well, I'm obviously going to put that battery mat underneath it so that this doesn't rust out again. Allow me to put it directly to the floor, make it tight enough, and not too much extra effort, just, you know, welding in those two eyelets. And that's it. And then that's done, and once that's done, I can re-weld that post back there, I can put this back into place, I can cut off the rusty bits at the bottom of the divider, weld that to the floor pan, and then this is 100% done. And then I can start like PORing it and all that shit. But I mean, that's gonna come in like 2 days, and I can knock that out in a couple minutes. And I can't believe that I'm finally done with this. I'm pretty happy. So what I'm trying to do is use my wire wheel to clean up all the existing rust here. And I got like half of it done, but I was like, dude, this is taking far too long. Like, there's got to be an easier way to get all this old paint off. And then I thought, wait, I have paint stripper lying around. And I got this aerosol version too. So I sprayed that down on this panel as part of it to see if I get better results out of it. And it is bubbling and cooking. So hopefully it'll work. I'll let it sit for about, I don't know, 5-10 more minutes. And then we'll see. I'll just, you know, scrape it off and I guess wire wheel whatever's left over, but hopefully it works, because this is just taking forever. The thought crossed my mind to just scuff up the old paint and then put POR-15 over it, but that's not going to work. The POR will adhere to it, but then, like, if that paint ends up lifting, then it's going to lift up the POR with it. So I'll have to end up doing that job again. So still, the best thing to do, strip all the old crap off it, rough it up with some like 36 or you know, like 40 grit, whatever, and make it nice and rough, and then put the POR-15 on top of that. It's still the best thing to do, apparently, so learning as I go. The aerosol didn't work, but it did take up something. Maybe the glue that was on top of here, but it didn't actually eat through all the way. So I'm gonna try this stuff in the can, brush it on, see what happens. Better, but not good enough. Especially not back there. That stuff wasn't even touched, so I think I'm just gonna scuff up all of it, give the stripper a better chance of actually getting into the paint. So I got some 220 right there. Just gonna scuff up everything, reapply, and hope for the best. Very least, I've learned my lesson for next time. Scuff, then put it on. Don't put it on and then scuff, because it's fucking stupid. I ran through about a sheet of sandpaper just cause, but still not doing too much up there. I sprayed water on it to neutralize it, because enough of it is gone that I can just wire brush the rest of it off. It did a good enough job. And it kind of, if I'm honest, took about as long as it would take to wire brush it. But the part that matters, to me anyways, is effort. And this was not a lot of effort. Brush it on, sit, take it off. Not a lot of effort. Versus this, where I gotta be hunched over there and pressing on, you know, the grinder button. You know, it's getting in rough positions. It's like this is the better way to go for me right now, is just to use the paint stripper and just leave it at that. So I'm gonna let it sit overnight. It's about 4 o'clock, so it's gonna get dark pretty soon, and I've been working all day, so we'll call it. Go upstairs, play some Splatoon, maybe some Mario Kart. I don't know, the world's my oyster. But yeah, it's funny, it's showing up all the spot welds. It's pretty cool. Good thing I don't have to drill those out, because there's quite a bit of them. But yeah, tomorrow I will begin the POR-15 process again on this rear section, and hopefully I won't have to redo it or undo it. Hopefully it'll all work as good as I need it to. But tomorrow, scuff all this stuff up with 220, or maybe I should probably go to the parts store and get like some 36 or something really abrasive, and just, you know, don't waste any effort on it. Just really go to town and really score the shit out of the metal, because POR-15 sits nice and flat, so I don't have to worry. Like, it evens itself out. But I think what I'm going to do before the sun goes down is I'm going to try and figure out the HVAC system a little bit, because I'm very confused on, like, these guys. Or maybe I should spend this time, like, reading up on the owner's manual. But this guy opens up that vent back there for the heat. It's cable operated, I can tell, you know, I can see everything moving, and I can see the flap in there opening and closing. This one's supposed to work for this side, but it doesn't work. So, probably something underneath the car that I can't see that's disconnected, but I'm curious about that, because it, like, of all the parts of this car, what I don't understand the most is the HVAC system. Like how the air gets routed in from the engine, and there's your hot air and like the heater pipes and all that stuff. Like everything else makes sense, but that is, I gotta figure that out. I tell you what, man, sometimes like spend all day working on metal, which is tedious, time consuming, like not that fun. Like, and you kind of been spending so much time on that, I kind of forgot about other issues in the car, and like I was honestly bored with it because I've been doing it for like what, 2 weeks now, like almost 3, just metal work. So just to make myself happy, like just for a little bit of like positivity, I fixed my sticking seat rail adjusters. Used to stick, now it works well, and so does the other side. See, and you know what, that just makes me just so unreasonably happy. What else to do? Wire wheeled off all the rust that I could, scuffed everything up with 60 grit, did the degreasing, removed the degreaser with water, let the water dry. The metal prep is currently on here. It's been on for 15 minutes. I kept it wet. Not, like, all the rust is not turning phosphoric white like I thought it would. Like, there's still a lot of spots that are holding out and are still dark. So, I'm doing it right. So, my assumption is that whoever had the car before me probably already converted it, because it's, none of the rust is rust colored back here, it's all black. So maybe it's already been converted. Maybe it's fine, I don't know, because I'm doing everything I'm supposed to. And it's not, you know, not every piece of rust is powdery white like I would assume it would be. So I'm gonna assume it's good, because I've done everything I possibly can. And so the next step is to take this off with water, let it dry overnight, and then I will do the exact same process with the floor pans. The floor pan that I replaced, I'll do the underside of it too, and just get, I ran out of space. Do the exact same thing, process on all the other ones, let it dry overnight, and then tomorrow I'll start painting on the POR-15. That's the plan. This has dried. I'm not going to wait 24 hours because it's obviously dry. I mean, wiped it down, let it sit for about an hour or 2, and then hit it with compressed air. It's dry. It is definitely dry. Worryingly, but not really, it left this sort of brownish coating, but I looked up online and it's actually, that's the phosphate. That's the converted rust. It's doing its thing. So you can see it's like kind of white up there, and then like brown in other places, like this sort of golden brown color. So I guess it's doing its thing, and all this sort of stuff I guess was previously converted or something, because like, it's just not getting in there at all. So I'm gonna paint. I'll put the POR-15 on here and seal this in. That's a nice looking trunk. So I put 2 coats of POR-15 down, but I mean, the second coat just kind of, I slopped on there like real thick, but like I don't think that I need to do more than 1 good coat, honestly. Like, because the second coat, I don't even know if it really did anything. Like, there was some light spots over here that I just kind of left. But I mean, like, if if I just coated it properly the first time, I wouldn't have had to do a second coat and like wait the hour and a half, 2 hours to apply the second coat. So I don't know. For the next ones, I think I'm just going to do the right job the first time and then just, you know, not worry about doing a second coat. But this stuff is great. Like, it's hard as a rock. Nice and smooth, laid flat, looks great. So now I just got to do the rest of the car. Lazy Saturday, I didn't do much today, but I figure at the very least I can get my battery solution in place. Now basically this was 10 bucks on Amazon. It's pretty much what you use to like keep batteries on like boats and stuff, so if it's good enough for that, it's good enough for me. So what I got here is I got these two little U-clamps, and I welded them in here and here. Then you have a ratcheting strap that you feed underneath, and then you put the battery on top of that. And I think my camera might fall. Okay, it's good. Alright, so I'm going to put the battery on top of that. Strap her down. Oh, baby. It's on top. Kind of centered. And then all you do is take this end, feed it through here, and tie her down. I'll probably flip this so that the buckle's on the other end, but essentially, that's how you do it. Strapped in. Well, I need to get it tighter. Let's see if we can make this better. Oh, that's why it wasn't working, because it was sitting on it. So like this. There we go, that's better. Pull. And there you go. That's tight. Then ain't moving nowhere. I can make it better by tightening it down more. And I'll work on that. But right now, that's solid. And especially considering that, even a little bit, I'll work on that. But it ain't going anywhere. Considering that the last battery solution that was on this car was to lay the battery flat on top of a plate and not bother hooking it down anywhere, I'd say that this is an improvement by anyone's standards. But this will work just fine. I will obviously have to trim this down a little bit because there's really no need for all that length. Or do something, or even I don't even really, I think it's not like it's going to bother anyone being down there. Try this again, try to figure out the best way to center this thing. Yeah, that's really tight. And now it's not moving. Cool. So that's that. I've given myself enough room so that when this guy gets put back into place that it's not going to interfere with this divider at all. So yeah, I'm happy with that. Finished off this rear panel. Got a little plate welded in there to just kind of hold it in place. Welded in this seat post bracket there, so now this is all done, and I think this marks the end of welding on the car, which is pretty sweet. I've wire wheeled off all of the stuff on the sill here, like all of the what do you call it? All the old glue, and you know, scuffed it up with sandpaper. So this is going to be fine. Ooh. This is going to be fine to POR-15 over. But what I've kind of started paying attention to are the floor heater controls, which are right here. like right there. The cable runs underneath there, and there's a flap that's right here that basically opens, you know, pretty much flaps on or off to control heat to the floor. But what's interesting about this is I think I'm missing a part, because I'm looking at my manual and it looks like there should be some sort of knob to control whether or not it's on or off right here on the door. And there's nothing here except there's a little recess, what looks like a hole, to feed a cable down. If you look at this, there are two holes here, one to pull and one to push. That's at least my my assumption for this thing, but I'm missing whatever knob sits there and that you can control the heat with, and I'm missing it on that side as well. And then this cable runs underneath the floorboard, and what I thought it would do is it would hook up with the cable. It would hook up with the cable on the other side of the heater, like on the driver's side, but it doesn't. I can pull this cable, and it's just like, you know, it doesn't seem like it ends. And I don't want to completely pull it out because I don't know where the hell it comes from. So I don't know, I think I might just leave that one for a while and start looking to see if there's some heater controls that I can get for the floor that mount here. But the weird thing is that there's a recess there and a hole there for the cable to go through, but I don't see any way that it actually, the knobber or whatever, actually hooks up on there. So I don't know. So the last little bit of cleanup that has to be done before I can start pretty much starting the POR-15 process on the rest of the floor of the car is I need to do that sill, the driver's side sill, because it's got a lot of surface rust and glue on it. And I just want to take that off, and there's a few little rust spots like towards the pedal box that I'll wire wheel off and POR-15 over that. And then also some on the kick panel, a little bit, but for those I'm just gonna like spot it. I'm just gonna put it on, like put the POR-15 on those specific spots. I'm not gonna bother doing the entire bulkhead, just do those little spots. And you know, obviously when I wire wheel that stuff off, give myself a 1/2 inch all the way around the area I wire wheel, just to make sure that when I kill the rust on there, I'm killing all of it, not just what I can see. So gonna do the rest of this kick pan, the rest of this sill, and think about how the heating, and I'm still trying to figure out how the heating works on this car. I did find a manual online that kind of shows like, well, this one controls this one and this one controls that one, but it's still like, stuff's like not really working properly, and I might just have to go in and replace all the cables on the HVAC system on this car. They're not expensive, but I assume it's a bit of a pain in the ass of a job to do. But that's not something I have to worry about this moment. There's a lot more stuff that, like pretty much once I get the car back from paint, then it's okay, then it's time to start worrying about like, you know, the HVAC system, the electrics, tuning the car, etc. But it's a long way to go before that. I still have to finish off the interior and then do the exterior, send it off to paint, get it back, and then I can start paying attention to all that stuff. But still, little itty bitty things like that, like really get my mind going. And I just really hope that the parts that I'm looking for aren't like unobtainium, you know? At least I hope so. And I assume that they are hard to find, otherwise I think whoever had this car before me would have fixed that instead of saying, ah, to hell with it, I guess I don't get floor heat. So, but from what I can tell, the previous owner of this car was very lazy, so it could very well be that it was there, but he just couldn't be bothered. Alright, the rear portion, I guess that's technically the firewall. Firewall, and then the battery tray and that other tray over there, and the back side of the divider. They're basically just waiting to be dry, and then POR-15 is getting put on those. Now, being that there's a lot of crevices and low points in this area, that water can basically accumulate and it'll take a little bit longer to dry. I'm going to let this wait maybe until tomorrow, just to be 100% sure. Or maybe at least like, I don't know, 3 hours or so, and see where I'm at. Because yeah, I want to wait for this to be as dry as possible. And it's, you know, I already wiped it down, compressed air for a while, and it's gonna take a little bit, but might wait until tomorrow. So, being that I don't want to waste an entire day just waiting, I started work on the front floor pans. They got some degreaser on them right now, and you know, in about 15 minutes I'll take that off with water, wipe that down, let that dry a little bit more, and then do the rust prep on that. So hopefully the idea is that I can get this and the front two pans painted tomorrow. And I think that's as much POR-15 as I have to go around right now. I'm gonna leave the passenger, or the rear side pans, this one and that one, and then the underside of this pan and that pan, because I've, you know, obviously welded those in. I'll leave those probably a little bit later, but I don't want to like spend all day waiting around. I want to at least like have this stuff prepped and ready so that I can paint, or I can basically do POR-15 in one shot. So depending on how long that takes, those two take, and then these two, I don't know, maybe I'll wait. I'm not too sure. But the one thing about the underside of this is that I do have to remove that cross member brace that I welded in those captive nuts for. Because obviously I have to be able to get to that new metal, and with the brace in the way, I can't do it. It just wouldn't be, it would be extremely difficult, if not impossible, for me to get POR-15 on all the parts underneath the car that need them. So I'm going to take off that brace, and being that we're on a slope here, it's going to be a little bit weird because I need to, I don't know, I'll use my jack and like jack up the brace, and then also put like a jack stand underneath it, and hope that it stays in place enough time for me to, you know, do the work that I need to under there. Hopefully that'll be all right. I assume the car won't completely fall apart if that happens. Hope not. So yeah, waiting around. Alright, all the pans are ready to be painted. That's all the white stuff that I was told about, except for, boom, the new panel, which has what appears to be rust. But when you actually put your hand on it, the rub disappears, and it's that gold color that I was seeing in the trunk. So it's been converted. There's no actual rust there, it's just powdery nonsense. So I'm going to give it one quick vacuum just to make sure that everything's off of this, and then I'm going to paint the entire floor. Ooh, it stinks in here. Alright, that side's done, that side's done, and this is, the back is pretty much done. So the hardest part about this is trying not to paint myself into a corner. And I think I've pretty much got it figured out. And I did those first two panels like first so that I could just lay on my belly. And then to get these panels, the back side of these dividers, and then pretty much all this, there's still some spots that I'm going to get from sitting down, like right here. I laid on my belly on the trunk and got all that. And then the rest of this is going to be, I'm going to do that side first, that whole side first, so I'll be like basically standing in here. And then this will be the last I can do because it's way easier for me to get out from the passenger side. And then I'm done. Well, and then I have to do the underside of this panel and that little patch over there that I did, the first patch I did. I got to get underneath the car and do that, but then after that, I'm done with this horrible smelling crap. A vacation for me, and the last day, hopefully, I'll be using the POR-15. Well, no, it's not, because then I have to do the trunk, or the front trunk, because there's rust in there. But as far as the interior goes, like, we're looking good. Little did I know that the POR-15 I got for the interior was semi-gloss, so when it was drying I'm like, what the hell's going on here? But I mean, it's supposed to dry flat like that, but it looks good. This floor pan had a few light spots, and you know, I put some more on there this morning just to even that out, and then, you know, a few spots in the rear back there too, but we're looking good. So today I am doing the underside of this panel, and then the little patch panel I did over there on the driver's side, and I'm doing that. And then once that's done, I got some seam sealer, and I'm going to seam seal everything from the bottom, and then if I have anything left over, I'll do all the weld seams in the interior as well, because, you know, what could it hurt, right? So that's going to be today, and that should take me the rest of the day. And if I have some time left over, I'm going to start clearing all this crap off the hood and start looking at the interior of the hood and see what's going on there, because there is some rust. There's a decent amount of rust where the spare tire sits. But I think that that's the only area in the trunk that really needs attention, so that's not too bad. It's going to be a little awkward getting in there, but I mean, it shouldn't be too bad. And hopefully I have enough POR-15 to get through today's job, because I have like got about a 1/16 of that left, and essentially all I have to do is 2 panels, so it shouldn't be that bad. But I don't know. I hope I make it. Now I'm using the roof rack for its intended purpose, while the bottom of the pan is waiting for its POR-15 to dry. I look at the trunk, front trunk, and there is work to be done. Now I'm probably just going to spot it with the POR-15 instead of doing the whole damn thing, because it doesn't need it. But like, this needs to be done, that needs to be done, that needs to be done, that needs to be done. I pulled up the carpet, that looks terrible. Pulled up the carpet, that needs to be done. Back here, where the reservoir is for the brake fluid, that looks terrible. And these are all like hard lines that I have to finagle around somehow. I really don't want to remove the gas tank, because it's pretty much full, and I don't have a way to like drain it. I know that shops have like a vacuum thing, and it looks like a big air compressor to store gas, but I don't have that, so I really don't want to remove this tank. Ugh. The tank itself looks like it's in like okay condition, good enough. But like the only thing, like over there, like near the tank bolts, it looks okay, the tank retaining bolts. But over here, I don't know. Like over here there's what seems to be some new rust forming. And definitely back here, where I believe this is a vent. Like right in there. There's definite rust. So I don't know, maybe I can cheat. Well, I don't know, man, because like I have to, like, there's no way in hell I can lift that up. I just can't do it. Even if I was 100% healthy, there's no way I'm getting under there. So I don't know, maybe I can like remove these bolts and maybe somehow like tip it up this way so that I can see like how deep the rust goes underneath there and there. Fuck. I don't like this. I'm gonna have to sleep on that gas tank. I really, I'm not too happy about that one. Oh, I found the color. Found the color code. Marina Blau. Marina Blue. L54D. Like the other side, like the washer bottle retainer, there's a bit of rust there. Down here in the wheel like the wheel well, like where you put your spare tire. Yeah, it's got spots. Like it's gonna have to get gone through, especially down in there. And I kind of figured out what's up with the lock mechanism here, and I was like, well, how the hell does it go on here? But they sell it as one piece, so I think to make my job easier, I'm just gonna go on Samba, get a whole new assembly for like $10, drill out those rivets, put a new assembly in there, and then just put screws in there to retain it, because that's actually how the Volkswagen repair manual says to do it. If you need to replace it, just drill out the rivets and put some new screws in there. Alright, enough lamenting. Like, you guys don't want to hear that.